want to talk about innovation and how we often think about it too narrowly. Many organizations, as we discuss innovation, start to think about just one dimension of innovation instead of thinking about it more broadly, and it limits their possibilities. Now, first, we think about where we have innovation. There's really three different areas, and people typically think of only the first, which is product innovation. So if you think about Tesla, or you think about Spotify as examples that brought new products to market and made them better, those are examples where the product was the innovation. And that tends to be one of the only ways we think about such innovation. There's also process innovation, though. Process is changing how you work, where the how you work fundamentally changes who you are as a business. McDonald's is a great example of this, where they didn't necessarily make a better burger, but because they had a process, they made it way faster and more consistently than any of their competitors. And this is what ultimately allowed them to grow. And third is business model innovation. So business model innovation is really thinking about how the whole thing is put together, what you ultimately are delivering, not in terms of just the value proposition, but a change to the process itself. So you think about business model innovation, and Amazon is a very good example of continuous business model innovation, not just what you order online, but how you work fundamentally, how they've done web services and other revenue streams that have complemented it. Netflix is another example. Of course, renting movies wasn't a new product, but it was a different business model, switching from the rent a movie to subscription, and then from mail to fundamentally streaming. Didn't really change the product, required changing the process, but it was a new business model that really brought them to light. So be thinking about innovation in all three domains: product, process, and your business model. The other dimension that we think too narrowly about innovation is about at what scale it happens. So many people will say, well, innovation is driven by an innovation office. Then we can manage it and drive it and measure it and all these wonderful things. And when you're going for some big changes, that's often a great way to manage it. But then there's tremendous value in the every person, every day, looking at new ways of doing things and having a culture and a capability of innovation throughout the organization. But sometimes the limitation of that is we don't go after that one big organized effort towards innovation. The point is you want to be working across that spectrum. Organize yourself for some big risks, some big changes to reinvent yourself, but also build and cultivate that culture of innovation, the capability of innovation at every person throughout the organization. Ultimately, not only will that drive everyday improvements, some of your most surprising changes will happen through that, and then ultimately, the changes that have to come from the bigger driven ones will be better accepted because you've built that culture. So see innovation more broadly in your organization. Don't limit it to just one thing, and ultimately, it will be a bigger part of your success.